welcome to Flooring Models Kit Review time. Today we got something a little bit different. Actually what we got down here is an extractor or a spray booth, okay? Now guys, you guys have been following me now for the best part of 17 years. Well no, for the last 10 of them I've had it because I've got one right behind me. This is exactly the same, okay? I've been using that spray booth now solidly for the last 9 years with no problems at all. This is the BenchVent, or made by Graphic Air. This is the, I remember which one it actually is now, the BV300S-D. It's a great bit of kit. This thing is solid metal construction right the way around it, as you can see. Okay, absolutely fantastic. You've got the hose with it as well, and it is quite heavy. It is a solid lump. You can see it nice clean on the back. It's tapered in the back as well, so you can pop it into a corner, which is a nice touch. And because the air hose comes out of the top, you can actually have this then out the way, so you can put it flush up to against the wall. And to be honest, that's what I do behind me, and we're installing this second one in a minute into there, as you can see. It is actually quite a simple setup at the end of the day. What you've actually got is 4 little handles back here, and there is an earthing strap now fixed to these, which there wasn't before. Okay, so you take this off, you have your filters. Now your filters, we spoke about these aren't cheap. They're like 12-15 pounds each. They're very expensive. They're very nice, but there is a shortcut to do what I do, and that is to dismantle one of these and use it as pretty much the grid or the framework for putting it in. We've covered that before behind us and everything else like that. All right, so you can see that one there. In the heart of this, if you just put this back on, you can see the guts of this. Now this is what it is. So this is a drum fan unit. It's not your standard sort of suck-in fan. It's a drum one because it's pushing it straight out of the top. It's a hugely powerful piece of kit, this. And to put this into perspective, it is actually, where are we? I've got the things down in here of the fan. Where are we? It will actually do 5,160 litres per minute out of this guy, so it is no slouch at the end of the day, or that is 5.16 cubic meters of air a minute. Again, it's this great thing. It's getting all of those nasty particles when you're spraying straight into here, into this box, draws it up, puts it in straight out the hose. It is clean out of your environment. It's not trying to filter anything. It's not trying to do anything clever. It's just taking it clean out of your environment and putting it ideally outside, okay? But what you can obviously do with these things is, it is that standard, I think it's 4-inch sort of dryer hose size. So you can do what I've done, and with mine, I've got mine into a little vent system that goes out the wall behind. And on there, I've got the doors on there. It's designed for a tumble dryer. It works just equally as well. Or you can fit it, vent it anywhere out into a loft space or anything else like that, okay? But it only takes your standard 4-inch hose fittings to put adapters onto this or anything else, okay? But it does come with it supplied, and you get the box. You also get your power lead down here, which is your standard sort of kettle type 3-pin plug that goes in the side and everything else like that. I'm doing something a bit more elaborate on mine because I've got 2 wired up together. So I need to sort that out. It is literally that simple. There's not much to it, but this thing just oozes of quality. Now price. Okay, it's not cheap. There is a lot cheaper out there. You can spend, if you wanted to, you know, anything from sort of £60 up to this guy, which is going to set you back around about £285, okay? Then you've got your delivery on top. It's quite heavy, but this thing does come with a lifetime guarantee. Everything, apart from the filter, obviously, but the rest of it is a complete warranty. And this is one of those things where, you know, many a time I'll review a product and something else like that, and then, you know, it might break later on down the line. I can honestly say this one over here, I have been running for almost 10 years solidly every day. And it runs 3-4 hours a day. Sometimes I just leave it running in this environment. I'll do some spraying, I'll leave the room. It might be running a few hours later. It just keeps going. It is absolutely fantastic. And from a noise point of view, this one, they're not too bad either from a noise point of view. They work extremely well, okay? So from that point of view, it is one of these things where, like an airbrush, like a compressor, they are that 3, okay? When people say to me about airbrushing, Phil, what do you need to start? How much do I need to spend and all the rest of it? Yes, you can start cheap and work your way up. And when you know that it's something perhaps you're gonna then spend a lot of time in, then you're gonna go for something like this. I wouldn't recommend popping out and buying this if you're just thinking about buying an airbrush, because it is a lot of money, okay? But if you are a guy who does a lot of airbrushing, you've got one of the smaller little Chinese, you know, cheap sort of spray booths, and you're thinking you want something to take it to that next level, this is definitely where you want to be. It is the top end, but again, it just lasts and it goes on absolutely forever. So what we're going to do now is pop it down into here. Some of the specs of it I did say I mentioned, so if you're looking for dimensions, just before I pop it in there, you actually got a frontal area of 565 centimeters. Okay, this is across the front. It's actually got a depth of 390 centimeters up here, and it's actually got, pulling down the back, you've actually got a one of 430 in the depth. That's with the hood on though, which is something we're going to look at the moment. I don't know actually what the size is. It doesn't actually say what it is without the hood, because the thing is, the thing to remember on this one, as we show you here, is the hood. Okay, so always have a little label saying direction of airflow, okay, because you want the metal side facing out. Okay, this just pops on the front. These little handles screwed in, 1 and 2. Now, if you were doing it in a normal home environment, i.e. not like me, who's about to make a bit more of an elaborate setup, it also comes with this. Okay, so this is just plastic cardstock, but actually what this does is convert this into your spray booth properly. Okay, now this just velcros on the front, as you can see. So now when you're in here, all of this air is being trapped in this point. So only got one way out, and that's going to go out here instead of back at you. Now I don't have the luxury of one of these on here because I need to get a camera in here, and obviously putting a camera in this little hole isn't going to work. Okay, so that's why I have two. So I have two, and everything is drawn into that wall. The other thing you can do with these, which is great, and this is why the hose is in this area, if you wanted to, you can spray with it in the down position. Now if you're a person, perhaps a graphic artist, things like that, and you like to be leaning down and spraying, this is where you want to be. You can put your material onto this mesh, and that's what's nice about it. It'll sit here, and when you're airbrushing, everything will go down. So perhaps you want to be in that situation where, you know, instead of actually then spraying directly at a model and you're going to be spraying more downwards, then you can actually have it like this. So if you wanted to, you could then set it up on your system, have it in a downwards location, and you'll be absolutely fine. And of course you could do lots of different variations on that as well. So if you're not using the shroud, if you wanted to, and because of its angling, you can actually angle this guy, which is something I was thinking of doing, at this angle, just like this. Okay, we've still got access to the on-off switch down under here, or you could have it on top, and that way you can still undo everything and have it. Okay, so if you're spraying like this all the time, perhaps you want it at this angle, or if you wanted to, you can just have it like I will in the vertical up here. But this is just one of those different types of reviews. I can honestly say I've had my money's worth out of it. Yes, it is a lot of money. Members, you're going to get 10% discount on everything over at Graphic Air and at BenchVent anyway. Okay, the discount code will be up in the usual place on the actual main site in the members offers area. Okay, but this is just one of those ones. It's very expensive, and I know a lot of you are going to be going, ouch, you know, £275, £285, delivery's not cheap. But honestly, I can put my hand on my heart and say, this is one of those pieces of equipment which I've bought, I've used, it's been dragged around to all my various homes and shows it used to go to with me as well, and it just works. It just goes in, it turns on, and it runs. And mine has been running now solidly for almost 10 years, and it is absolutely still as good as the day I bought it. So when you're thinking about it, I'm expecting it to go a few more years yet as well. When you're putting in that cost of a yearly type of cost into it, into 10 years, then literally it's just costing me peanuts to run it all the time, okay? Again, filters can be a bit pricey, but there's a little way around that, which we've shown a lot of times here before on flooring models. But again, these are very nice ones. They are good. They draw in all those particles. It'll stop all the smaller particles going into the fan area, but it is a sealed fan as well. Okay, so it is used to having nasty chemicals, flammable items going through that fan system, and then it puts it out just through the hose, which comes supplied as well, which is another really nice touch. So there we go, that is the BenchVent, okay, and it is the A300S-D, absolutely fantastic, solid bit of kit. Okay, so you've seen the review, now we need to get it in. So we've made up this plastic card box with it. As I said, I showed it on the actual show. It is that simple. It's literally just the actual foam core stuff. We've made a box, we've made a hole for it, and a little skirt to hide all the hosing and all the bits and pieces in the electrics and everything all out of the way. I'll be honest with you, I did video this, and then I deleted it. I actually went over it with some other stuff. So I've had to record this again this morning, but I did a lovely unboxing video of this and all the rest of it and putting all this in, and I went and deleted it. But anyway, it was part of the vlog as well, so you'll see it on there. But there we go, very straightforward with this one. So all we do, we take our BenchVent, we take it over. Now from my point of view, what I'm doing is taking these off. Let's face it, it's drawing air in, and I can make better use of not having these nodules on the edge than I can the other. Okay, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, because what I'm going to do is going to push them in, and they're all going to be held in and everything else like that. So take the hose down the front, slip him just under here. Box. This is the great thing with this. I've got a cable down here as well, which is some of the camera equipment that can come up. It sits in there just like that. The hose, which I'm hoping is just going to pop down in the back here for the moment. Okay. What we'll do, we'll sort out and tidy it all up at a later date. It sits in there like that. We have our cables come through the middle. Again. And this way I can still now open all the doors and everything with this in. Now just to tidy this up a bit, I've got this little side panel which I've trimmed because I've got like a little skirt down the back there, and then that is literally just going to come in here, and that is just going to velcro on, which tidies up that edge. That's why the knobs were taken off. We'll keep those nice and safe. And the other thing I've got is a little bit of plastic strip which goes in between the two. I should be able to just pop these in here, and we'll sit up just like that. Okay, and it all sits in there, and away we go. Okay, so we've got good clean access, air access to everything in here, and the great thing is when they're both running, I'm going to wire it up. The other one's down the back. It just goes into a twin socket with a single on-off switch then for both of these to be running together. Although what I might do is change it slightly so I can have one running, because if it's a little job I might only need one. It's something I didn't think about, so I might change it again and put it into two sockets and everything else like that. But this way, if I'm doing a big project, you know, we've got the A10 coming up soon, we've got the Mosquito, we've got some real big stuff, I can sit it right here, spray, and everything's going to go this way. The draw rate is going to be a lot better. I still have, if we need to as well, I can actually put the shroud still onto this for day-to-day running like this. So that way, if I'm doing something and perhaps, you know, it's just a little job and I want to keep everything circulated in here, I can still pop this on and use it just as a single one instead of having to do it as a twin and everything else. But the trouble I have, obviously, is the camera. So the overhead camera can't see past one of these, okay? And then the side camera coming in, we're planning on having another camera here, which will look down in here, and one over my other shoulder. Those cameras aren't going to be able to see me with the hoods in the way. So the hoods will be kept literally just down under here, and then when I need them, I can just grab them and use them as and when is required. But there we go. That is the A300D one. As I said, this is a strange one for me. I am not endorsed. I haven't been given. I'm not being paid to do anything on these guys. I approached them. They didn't even know I ordered it. Okay, then they came to me and said, oh, hi Phil, and all the rest of it. So that's why I'm doing this for them as well. But this isn't doing it for them. I'm doing it for you guys, because this is a stunning, fantastic bit of kit. Expensive, but you really do pay for what you get.